Hello and welcome to Chapter 216 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a busy week, even though I was off of work all week. Um, but like I was busy around the house. Like I rearranged the basement again, so now I have like
Oh no,
shelves that I can stack my statues on that have been in a tote for the last like 5 years. And then I got more room over here, and I'm trying to basically make it into studio ish. But on top of that, like I had to mow the grass, which was like a week overdue, and
Ugh.
it's been raining like crazy. And like, yeah, I'm just trying to get it in between. We got like a nice little moat in the back because it like dips for whatever reason. So I have to mow around that. It's annoying as hell.
I
And
hate mowing.
my daughter's just started the job, and I gotta take her there and pick her up until she gets her license, which will be in a few weeks, hopefully. But no, everything's fine. How are you doing, Travis?
I'm doing well, Joe. Just remember, you were at a con last week. You were at a con.
I
You were at
was.
a
I
con.
was. Actually, it was
Uh,
fun. I got to
that,
meet three of the Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury Rangers. That was fun.
oh, cool.
I got to meet John Barrowman. That was really cool.
Oh,
Got a picture with him and a picture signed. Yeah, no, it was a fun con. Yeah. I got it was a Merlin picture that I got signed. So
nice. I wish I could go to a con. I don't. We don't have much here. I know, like they had one here a couple years ago. Like the big one of the big people was Anatoly from the Aero show,
okay.
because he's from here.
Ah,
Uh, so yeah, my week's been pretty good, Joe. Not gonna lie. I know I tweeted you guys tweeted in the chat last week like sports is stupid. I hate sports. Why did I ever care about it? It just breaks my heart. Uh, I have been pulled right back in. My team has risen from the ashes to force a game 7 with their dire nemesis tomorrow night. Uh, yeah, so last night I was supposed to go on Marvel Alliance. I was watching the first period, started to drift off, wrote Chris and said, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be there. I'm really tired and starting to fall asleep. I woke up to the third period starting, and Chris had said, like, go get some rest, come back next week, it's fine. And I watched the third period, complete chaos. And yeah, so I'm running on a little bit fumes. I'm glad that you were like, we need to go a little early tonight.
yeah.
And we got a show to talk about, which
Yep.
is
Yeah.
always a fun thing. And I'm interested to hear your opinion because we haven't really talked about what we thought of the episodes. So it's going to be fun jumping in. Before we do all that, let me get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 7 shows in total. On Mondays, bi weekly is Ranger Alliance. On Tuesdays is a walk through the multiverse. On Wednesdays is the Animation Nation. We just put out a movie review for Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 2. I want to thank Chris Evans of Gathering of the Geeks and Nick Zednick of the Vigilante 1939 podcast for joining me for that second go round. Sorry for torturing you guys with the content, but it was a fun discussion. We got into DC animation as a whole too. So go check that out. It was a fun discussion. And next week, we're going to hear Joe's thoughts on that film. So I'm really looking forward to that as well.
No.
On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays, it's Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays is DC Alliance. And Sundays monthly is World's Finest True Believers. Star Wars Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. And DC Alliance goes live for the foreseeable future Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. All three of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search DC Alliance, Marvel Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want DC content, Star Wars content, or Marvel content only. But if you want all 7 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, say subscribe to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a dollar tier and a $5 tier. $1 tier is basically tip jar. You like what we're doing, you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe are going through all the DC films through the years. I got Batman Begins up for the end of April. Our April entry was Batman Begins. That was such a fun conversation. Next up is A History of Violence, if I'm not mistaken, for this
I
month.
believe
I'm
so.
pretty
Yeah.
pretty sure. So stick with us. We're going through all the DC films. We have Chris and Brent, the Marvel Alliance guys, doing their Tales of the House of X, going through their favorite Fox Marvel films. The X-Men Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 just got posted up for the patrons as well. We also have Joel's Multiverse Minutes, where Joel's doing his Disney deep dives right now. Joe, what's on deck for that?
I just had The Reluctant Dragon come out here the other day, and next up will be Bambi.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah,
Bambi. Bambi was tragic growing up.
for sure.
And we thank everyone that's a patron, but if you're not a patron, if you take a quick 30 to 60 seconds, rate and review the podcast on your podcast app of choice, it's always greatly appreciated. Helps other people find the show, and that's always a good thing. Hi, Iggy. Joe is back.
And,
He asked about you last week,
oh
Joe.
yeah, on that con. Sorry.
We have a show, Joe, which is pretty interesting. It's been a little slow content wise, and this is set in the same universe as the Sandman
Mm-hmm.
on Netflix. It's the Dead Boy Detectives. So, how used were you to? How much did you know about these characters before the show?
Literally what was in Doom Patrol, because I don't
Like,
like, I knew they were characters, I knew that they were around. I think I may have read one story where they like came in to help with something and then they were
yeah,
gone. Um, so I didn't really know a whole lot about them. Obviously, when Doom Patrol happened and that episode, maybe episodes, I can't remember. Like, they were fun. I really liked them. I knew that was kind of a backdoor pilot for a show, which didn't pan out over on Max, which honestly I'm fine with. And so yeah, I really have no knowledge whatsoever going into this. But the first episode, I thought did a really good job explaining the unknowledgeable. What about you? What was your knowledge going in?
exact same as you, Joe. I only saw these guys and Doom Patrol. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It's different characters,
Mm-hmm.
different
Different
actors.
actors.
Sorry,
Yeah.
and still, I'm right there. I think these are even more enjoyable actors for this, and I was surprised because we'll get into it a little bit. I found it a little bit muddled at the beginning. I wasn't getting it because I was thinking like, oh yeah, this is not going to be a show for myself and Joe, and probably halfway through, I started to enjoy it. I really enjoy a couple elements like the way they do their scene, like cuts to different scenes. I enjoy that. Just the quickness of it and the words, just like two plane rides and a train and a boat later.
Yeah.
Like that stuff
A
was just,
ferry
it
later.
just
Yeah.
worked for me. Uh, and again, like the performances, I thought everything was pretty cinematic in the way it was shot. Like comparative to what the last pilot we did, Gotham Knights, that looked like you or I shot that compared to
That
this.
was literally CW trash.
Like you see the
And
demons and stuff in this, and everything looks really high quality just from the first
the,
episode.
speaking of the demon, like the one demon when they were showing Edwin's past, and the demon kills all the one. I
Yeah,
mean, okay, spoiler alert, guys. We're getting into it. He kills all the people that are trying to sacrifice Edwin, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Sorry, old boy, like you're a sacrifice, so I gotta do this." Like
yeah,
he being all proper, like he's got protocols he has to do, and he's like, I got to paperwork, man. Like I don't have to file paperwork if I don't have to do it. Like it was I enjoyed that. That got me. Like it like latched me onto like these guys are. It's while it's a drama, they're gonna have some fun comedy elements to it, and I really like that.
yes,
But
and
I'll say
sorry,
I do agree with you. The very beginning was a little. I'm not gonna say lackluster, but like, eh, you know.
it came out of nowhere, and Death showing up was
Death was cool.
a cool bonus.
Cool little connection to Sandman.
Yeah,
So she was awesome.
and it always gives me heebie-jeebies, that episode with her and the Sandman. It's like a total, but I couldn't stop watching it. But a total, it gave me the shivers the whole time I'm watching it. Not a big fan of Death, so yeah, it was just the way they did it too. So like matter of fact and just cold at times, and you're like,
Yeah.
damn. So I did like here. I hope that there's more elements of her trying to get them and take them.
I could see her maybe popping back up in the last episode, but I doubt it'll be like it may be like a vessel of her or something throughout the season.
Before
Especially
we
with the ending that we got and how the department, I guess, was, like now onto them.
before we go a little bit further,
What you
there
got?
was some news about how the show performed. Dead Boy
Ooh.
Detectives crashes uh,
Oh,
in the ratings. It's not in the top 10 in uh,
for Netflix.
It was, let me see, it was number 2 in Netflix, but number 1 had 22 million views, and it was number 2 for its first week, and the number 1 was its third week there and had 22 million views, and Dead Boy Detectives in its first week had 3.1 million.
Hmm.
So that's not good at all.
I mean,
You
according
got
to
The Gentleman season 1, 8 weeks has
uh,
been up now for 2.3 million.
okay,
So like that's not great.
I
Like
guess that would be marketing. Because I know there was a guy at work who was watching The Gentleman. He said he was watching it and really liked it.
mhm.
But even at that though, like Rotten Tomatoes has got a score of 92% approval rating
Oh
with
yeah.
a average of 7.3 out of 10 for Dead Boy Detective. So like people are liking it.
Mhm.
It's not. I don't think they've been advertising like with Sandman. They advertised the crap out of that.
Is
Literally anytime you would pop onto Netflix. This hasn't. I
is
mean,
not
I have been on.
snagging you in either. Like if you
Yeah,
go by this, I felt like too before we'll take an ad break after this, but I want to talk to you about this. This is not even really the actual in anything story or anything with this episode. What do you think about the intro? Because I got major, major, major Doom Patrol vibes. It was like I was watching like a intro made by the exact same people who made the intro for Doom Patrol.
I mean, it might have been. I got more AI vibes than anything, if I'm being
Really?
honest.
I just was like, I thought it was very Doom Patrol esque when I was watching it.
I
I was
mean, it
thinking,
was
okay,
fun because you could assume that it is the two skeletons are supposed to be these two, and they're just dancing, having fun, like just partying around, playing around. So like that was fine, but and maybe because I've just been watching too much, I don't know, like movies with a lot of CGI. Seeing all that was kind of I don't know. So
again, I just had major Doom Patrol vibes when I was watching that intro. It just and it's funny because it used to be on Doom Patrol. All
yeah,
the game says Baby Reindeer is the Netflix show getting all the action and went from
that's true.
2.6 million to 13.3 to 22. Just keeps building and building. Uh,
Yeah, that I because I
yeah,
know
Dead Boy
even
Detective is
on,
not doing great right now, Iggy.
but so to all the games point, like I didn't know anything about Baby Reindeer,
Hmm.
and then I heard it on my local news station or local radio station in the morning. Like, oh, I'm watching this and it's crazy, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like something I want to watch. But
It's
but it's got the viewership,
It
which
gets that
obviously
viral marketing, it gets the ball
exactly.
rolling, and then bam, you get same thing with, like, Tiger King, for example. Like, they just build
But yeah,
momentum to go, like,
once
week to week, getting bigger and bigger, which is insane.
yep. Yeah. And maybe I mean I know Dead Boy is as Iggy said is bombing, but like I we've only watched the first episode, so I can't speak to the whole series. But from what we watched, from what I saw, I really enjoyed it. I know Travis, you were saying that by midway through, it kind of got a hold of you. Kind of similar to me. Like I said with the demon, once the demon started talking, that was something that got me. But like once they introduced Crystal, the medium, and they're working together, I'm like, okay, I can. They kind of are building that relationship, and the Edwin being like a complete ass to her
Yeah.
because Charles is trying to be nice, like, hey, this is somebody who is our age. Like, I want somebody else to talk to because she can actually see us. Like the bonds were forming, and I kind of like that.
I liked how everyone's role was so especially you got everyone changing towards the end there.
Correct.
Joe, before we dive into the actual story beat to this episode, let's take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're at Ad Support Network. We'll pick the ad, their volume, give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. I got the plot here now. Let's dive into this one. Because we start off right away in London, England. And Edwin and Charles are on the hunt for a ghost wearing a gas mask.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this whole encounter here? Where we get them chasing him down back and forth. We get the mirror jumping.
The mirror
And
jumping was cool. Them going right into this mission. I'm not gonna say I was confused, but I'm like, this I get what they're trying to establish. Oh, these guys are on a job. They are doing whatever they're doing. Then they jump back to be like, oh, this is what the job is. This is the nurse. I think the night nurse, I think her name is asking these guys to find this soldier who is having problems. And then they jump back to the present. No, it didn't hook me like it should have.
No,
Especially within
same.
the first 15 minutes. Like, you need to get that hook in the first 15 minutes. Stranger Things has a good hook where these kids who are doing their thing. Oh, well, actually, it starts out at the base. Something happens. The kids are doing the thing, and then Will disappears. It's like, oh, now you want to know what the mystery is. So.
On the game says need to see its week 2 numbers next Tuesday. It has to go up from 3.1. Like I said, yeah, it has to build for it to get any sort of. Sandman did that too. Sandman picked up steam and continued strong for a while, necessitating a second season.
Iggy,
to Iggy's point.
Yeah, he's asking if do you think they will pull the plug? Not yet. They give it a month and then they will decide. Usually, I know what was the one more recent one that just it was like 2 weeks, and it got renewed on Netflix. I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember
because it was like super popular, and now I just can't remember. What it was.
I missed a few super popular shows lately, and for me, I really enjoyed this. I loved how they like the end of this is what I really enjoyed. They didn't get me first. I was really confused. A lot of quick cuts too. Right when you jump in is like a little much, but when Death showed up after he was completely saved. I thought that was awesome, and them hiding from that gave me stakes. That gave me like, oh my god, this is real.
No, gentleman. It wasn't a gentleman. It was something like 2 months back. But thank you all in the game. I'd have to check.
So I enjoyed when Death showed up. It always gives me heebie-jeebies, and that's a nice way to connect to Sandman right away, and it gives you like a man. Maybe we could see Dead Boys showing up on Sandman, or maybe we could see actual Sandman showing up here.
It'd be great. I don't think we're gonna get a Sandman, but it would be cool. It would be. Oh, you know what it was? I think it was One Piece. It was One Piece. I think after 3 weeks, it had gotten renewed again for season 2. Yeah, I think that's what it was.
So again, that was like that was our intro to them. Then we get the intro of the show, and then we get to the day prior. Well, we get to the present day, and they essentially after, like I said, they're scared of death. He tries to train Edwin to fight, and I thought that was cool. He's like, you got to learn how to take care of yourself. I can't.
Yeah, just in case
you're doing this now. And then they get a new client, this young girl, a young girl ghost named Emma, and she's talking about the human that the psychic, that she was friends with, that is acting really different now. I love how Edwin shakes her down and actually gets payment for this, because I thought they were going to do this pro bono. What'd you think about that, Joe?
I laughed because I can't remember what she said, but she said something along the lines of how she can't pay, and they're both like, "You sure about that? Because you're this type of ghost, and you've got a pet jellyfish ghost or whatever the heck it was, literally on a leash right there. Those things are pretty rare." And she's like, "Fine." Like I chuckled at that. That was pretty good.
And again, when they take this case and they study study their client, they see that she is possessed pretty easily. And this all happens really quick, Joe, but it needs to, because they need to get her part of the team. They get rid of this demon so quickly, but they let him run off. What do you think about how they took the demon down and basically brought her back to their own headquarters? Like, use the whole thing that they do at the headquarters, the putting on the floor and trap her. I thought that was cool. Reminded me of like John Constantine magic a little bit.
I definitely had the Constantine vibe with what they were doing, and I'm fine with that. I did chuckle because obviously they were trying to throw you when they said we gotta get in disguise. And when we see Crystal on the subway, you see 2 people in like clown outfits and clown masks, and it's like, oh, that's their disguise. And then they get off, and the the train goes, and nope, they're the two older people.
It's awesome. Their disguises are great, and I love how
Actually,
people
they
can
do a
actually
really
see
good
them
disguise with
in the
yeah,
disguises. I do like
yeah,
that because another element of this is when Crystal actually joins up with them, and she's talking to them when she's walking the streets, and she's just talking to nobody. Nobody
yep,
can see who she's talking to. She looks crazy. I love that. I love that element that she doesn't
yeah.
even realize that until towards the end.
I do like that because if they wanted to have a conversation with her, so she's not looking like she's psychotic in the middle of the street, they could,
Yes, but they
but they
don't.
don't.
We're punishing you.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, so yeah, they save her, but she doesn't have her memories. She doesn't know who she is. So Charles is like, yeah, she got to stay with us until she gets her memories back.
hmm
And Edwin's not a part likes this at all. I do love how Charles and Crystal form a pretty tight friendship pretty quickly,
yeah,
and this seems to infuriate Edwin.
yeah. And I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or what, but it could just be that it's been those two for at least 30 years now, give or take.
Yeah.
So it could be one of those things where he doesn't like the new
Well, that's
people.
what he mentions multiple times, Joe. Like he's like, "There's someone our age. Like it's been a long
That's
time
yeah, that's what
since."
Charles mentions. Yeah, I will give
So,
them crap though when they were in the closet trying to figure out like Edwin's like talking with Charles and everything. There's a bunch of board games on the shelf and a bunch of versions of Clue,
mhm.
which is fine, but they're in England, and at no point did I see any Cluedo, which is the European, well, the UK version
Ooh,
of
ooh!
of
Look at
that.
you, Joe. Look at you
Well, I did have
busting
the
out your
episode about
clue
Clue a
knowledge.
few weeks back, so I did a lot of research on that one.
Busting out your clue knowledge there.
I love Clue. I
Yeah.
like Clue.
So, again, I do enjoy the back and forth there. Crystal grabs a piece of paper and has a vision on
hmm
it of a little girl, Becky Aspen, that's missing in America, and says she's alive, but she's in dark, hidden, unnatural place, surrounded by black magic and death. And we're getting a road trip, Joe.
Yeah.
Much to Edwin's chagrin, but they do go. I love how first thing he does is complain about like you could go through a mirror and be here right away instead of just traveling the way they did. I thought that was great, and like I said, I really enjoy the way the title cards come in to do the scene switches like that. I really enjoyed
hmm
that.
Yeah. It worked.
So yeah, they she rents a room from a lady named Jenny. Uh, she's really reluctant at first, but I do enjoy her. She doesn't add much to the first episode at all. It's just a place for her to crash. And when investigating, they find out that a witch is part of the problem here after interrogating a cat. What do you think about all this, Joe, that led up to them finding out that the witch took the child?
Um, Pretty good. Like, cause this is the scene where we get in this compilation, I guess you would say, like they talk to the parents there,
Hmm.
which will help Crystal get a mental image of what's going on. We also get our introduction to lead as
Yeah.
being a thing that could harm the ghost.
Iron.
Is that iron? Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Iron,
it's iron.
not lead. Sorry.
Yeah.
Because when he goes through a mirror, which is conveniently placed in the alley there, to go get her shoes out of the police lockup. But he gets burned,
Iron bars.
yeah, by the iron bars. Um, so I did like that. And then yeah, it's just you're seeing these guys, their abilities play out naturally. Like it wasn't like none of it felt forced. None of it felt like they have to do this multiple times. They kept pushing the mirror thing, but like that is their main form of transportation, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But no, like this is so far, this was really good. I'm really enjoying it.
Same. And I liked how integral Crystal was, and the same thing with um, uh, Charles trying to sell her to Edwin. I did enjoy that
Yes,
as well. And to Iggy's point, I don't think I've seen him in anything
go. I'm looking at him right now.
looking through this. He was in Westworld, but I didn't get through that. So
Oh, Westworld was
uh,
great.
he was Henry in an episode. So nope, don't know him. I don't know if he's remembered for a role or something, Iggy. But yeah, this was enjoyable, Joe, to see them here and to see also that Crystal is not completely free of the demon, and we find out why is what she willingly let him possess her because she thought she was falling in love, and
Hmm.
he stole some memories from her. And she has a pretty cool scene in the bathroom of, or what she thinks is the bathroom of this restaurant, but
Well, it
no, it's
started out in the
actually the middle.
bathroom.
Is she ends up in the middle of the restaurant mumbling and talking weird stuff,
Hmm.
and she totally freaks out and leaves. And I do enjoy this. And this is when she leaves, Charles goes after her, and that's when Edwin interrogates the cat and finds out more stuff about the witch. And
Yeah.
I do like this is when this starts to roll for me. And they need to go. There is obviously a little bit of will they not be a team? They come together and realize that they need to not go after sorry, David, the one that took Crystal's memories, but right now they need to go after the little girl. They go to the witch's house, and this is basically hilarity ensues here for me. I thought this was really fun. They fall into a giant void, save the girl. I was a little disappointed because we got that giant snake, but it did nothing. It had played nothing into that at all.
I think nothing in the first episode. I think we
Yeah,
might get it later.
so I was a little disappointed about that, but that happened a little quick. But to see Crystal and her go back and forth in the uh, front yard after the boys just told her to stay put because like you can be killed pretty easily, like don't
Yeah.
want to. I was really nervous the entire time she was chatting, and the actress did a really good job of showing me that as well for her.
No, yeah, did wonderful.
And then
Sorry, I'm.
we get a big action scene uh where well big the boys fight the witch, and I'm sorry, big is big for this show. She slings him around pretty easily because she has an iron cane.
Yes,
uh and
but
what's the
we
one thing
that
they don't do, Joe?
they don't possess human like the living, which
Yeah,
because it sends a giant red flag to death, lets them know where they're at.
they don't even say
Um,
that. They don't say that part. They just
no,
say
no,
like it's not a good practice, like it's like something they don't do. They don't say it draws attention.
I thought they did say it at first.
Maybe they did. I didn't hear that. But he does it. He said we don't do it, and he takes control of Witch, gives them time to escape. But no, she knocks him out of herself pretty easily, and they get away with the girl. That's the funny thing. The witch puts up no fight. She goes back inside.
Well, I
I
don't think
thought
they
that was
realized that she realized that they had her.
yeah.
Uh, Now she knew that they were in there to get her, but I don't think they realized because they didn't walk out with her in hand,
No,
like
they had her in the magic bag.
because of Charles's infinite bag.
Yeah,
So yeah, no. So I guess she probably either she didn't realize or uh, they put up such a fight that she's injured and needs to like recoup.
but
Who
what does
knows?
she do, Joe? She puts in a complaint. Uh, essentially, that she was possessed. I find that I feel like that's what happened. Maybe
Did she
it's
put in a
just
complaint?
I feel like it. I feel like that's what she did, and maybe she didn't though. I'm not
See, I thought
sure.
it was because he had possessed her that it set off, bells and whistles in the afterlife, and they're like, "Oh, there's somebody who should be dead."
Okay, in the last found apartment of the afterlife, the night nurse receives a phone ticket of a ghost possession in Port Townsend, which she quickly
Okay,
deduces is the work of Edwin and Charles.
okay.
How do you deduce that though when they've never possessed anybody ever before?
They never said they didn't possess anybody. They
Oh,
just
they
said
just
it's
don't
not
do it.
something they don't. There's something they don't
Yeah,
do. Yeah, because I
yeah,
guarantee when you're first a ghost, you're probably doing that left and right, and then you're
yeah.
realizing maybe I shouldn't be doing that because of X, Y, Z.
I also thought it was pretty cool when she was paralyzing Crystal, the witch, and then
Yeah,
Crystal grabbed her legs and used her power as well, and it like brought her into this
that was really cool.
like
Yeah,
alternate world. Yeah, this was enjoyable, Joe. It was slow at first, but will definitely review the second episode next week. I think.
I think so. I think we should.
See what happens here with the lost and found. Uh, I'm interested now. I mean, that and death. There's two big entities that loom over uh, that want the boys. So this will be a fun thing to get into, Joe. Let's we have news now. Actually, before that, I want to get a rating for you. What'd you give this out of 10?
Ooh, out of 10, uh, probably like a 7.5. Like I enjoyed it, and I'm interested in watching the rest of it. So
Dude, there was 8 potential here, but the first little bit of that is not good. So I would put this at a 7 for
okay,
me. for a pilot episode. I'm in though, so
Yeah.
yeah, we will be reviewing. We'll go with the next episode. At least until My Adventures with Superman come out in May, at the end of
Yeah,
May,
and
I think.
end of May. Yeah, we
Yeah,
got
so
the
maybe
end of the
we'll
month.
like do final 4 episodes or something at once towards the end or
Maybe.
something. So, yeah, let's take our next ad break before we get into the news. Listeners, we're an ad support network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. We're going to do a quick 3 count to just revive, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. Let's get into the news now of the week here. First up, we had a trailer for My Adventure with Superman that we just talked about. Uh, it premieres on May 25th. What do you think about this trailer, Joe? As this is pretty fresh in your mind.
Yeah, it looks fun. I mean, I was already in on my adventures the first time I watched it. And this looks more the same. Lois and Jimmy are helping out Clark get their thing. We do see a fun little cameo that we'll talk about here in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But like it looks like it's continuing from season 1 with Jor-El trying to his ship. Well, I don't say trying to take over Earth, but
I think it's not Jor-El at all. I don't think Jor-El's trying to take over Earth. I think he's trying to help.
yes,
Yeah.
so it's gonna be one of those things where uh we'll see. Like, I mean, obviously there's a language barrier there because Clark doesn't speak Kryptonian right now, so he has no idea what's being said. I'm assuming probably midway through to the end, by the end, he'll finally have an understanding what Kryptonian language is, and
I hope
we'll
so.
get that.
So yeah, I really enjoyed this. I love the appearance of Lex Luthor. You're just expanding the Superman mythos without having to bring in Batman. I thought that was cool. He's going to work with Amanda Waller, especially now that Lois's father is gone from that group. It makes sense
Mm-hmm.
that he would come in at their most vulnerable. Uh, it's a 1 hour premiere, May 25th at midnight to 1 a.m. It goes on a streaming service the next day. I can't remember which one now.
Probably, I think it was
It's on
Max.
it's on Adult Swim. I think you're right. Yeah, on Adult
Yeah.
Swim on the 25th, on Max on the 26th. So yeah, this was a really enjoyable show. Myself and Joe loved the first season, so we'll be talking about this when this comes out. Of course, we also had a poster release for the show from Jack Quaid with Superman, Jimmy, and Lois reaching out to a girl with a cape and a blue
Mm-hmm.
suit. Wonder who that is.
Yep, we
Uh,
see her at the end of the trailer.
we see her at the end of the trailer, Joe, and we'll talk about it right now because I have the picture actually from the screen grab here, and yeah, uh, it's Supergirl, and she's
Yep.
doing a super punch. I think this is cool, and again, like I said, expanding the Superman mythos, bringing in Supergirl. That's fun for me. Uh, yeah. So before we get into our next little topic, I wanted to talk. I was watching a video before we went live, actually, speculating about Warner Brothers Discovery. They're about to lose. It looks like they're about to lose the NBA rights, which is a popular thing for them. Their earnings per share is going to go down, and it looks like their CEO is in trouble because that is not a good thing. Just like NBC is looking like it's going to swoop in and take the third. Amazon came in first. It was ESPN and Warner Brothers, and then during this, they had exclusive rights where they could have bargained, but they chose not to. They've been in a bit of a chaos, WBD. So NBC swooped in and Amazon swooped in, and it seems like they have deals that might be announced by the end of today that Warner Brothers is out. That's going to make their stock price fall even more. This was a popular thing for them. So I'm
Not
really
good.
interested to see what's going to happen with David Zaslav because I don't know how much lower the stock can go before somebody else sweeps this company up. So yeah, just wanted as the health of the DCU is paramount to us. I just wanted to keep you guys in on that, as not everyone's a sports fan, and yeah, there's rights. There's billions of dollars for these deals, and WBD doesn't actually have a lot of cash right now, so
Nope.
not sure if they can pull this off. They may lose this, and that's not going to be great. So, getting back to the world of superheroes, Umberto goes in on the Rock Show. I know this was talked about a little bit in our chat. No, we're not going to talk about the Rock peeing in bottles and dumping those bottles out, or getting his PA to dump those out, because I want to say too, WWE
Weird.
pushed back on the part of the story that said The Rock showed up late to WrestleMania, and like just trying to reinforce the late stuff they thought before. WWE pushed back and said no, he was here uh, very early to go through run throughs and help the wrestlers that were part of this main event. So they pushed back on that. There was nothing, no response from Umberto on that side of things. But we're here to talk about The Rock and Danny Garcia allegedly met with David Zaslav to position Hiram Garcia as the replacement to Walter Hamada. James Gunn and Peter Safran would later be hired. A person close to $7 denies this meeting was to pitch Garcia as a replacement. So yeah, what do you think about the article? I know you saw some of it in our GUA chat. Do you think it's all truthful? And
I would not be so the stuff about Rock being late on sets, like that came out in like like all the trades kind of was running with it.
Yeah.
Because it was coming from multiple different sources. I'm not gonna say it's like I'm not gonna say I'm surprised. Like this, I'm also not gonna say he's a diva or anything, but he kind of is. But I also feel like with wrestling, he cared about wrestling. Like that's his life. That's what got him his stardom. That's what got him his popularity. Obviously, he's trying to go into the movies, and that started out good, and now it's at a point of like, well, you hear The Rock, and it's kind of a toss up if it's going to be good or not. You know, like he doesn't have the fans movie side like he used to. I'm one of them. I still will go see certain movies, but like I never did watch Red Notice
Never
on
either.
Netflix. I wanted to. It's got The Rock, Gal Gadot, and Ryan Reynolds. Like I love all three of them. But my neighbor worked on that movie, and he would see the dailies. He would see all the stuff, and he's like, "Yeah, The Rock's a piece of shit." He's like The Rock. He hates The Rock. He probably hates The Rock more than Clay does. If that's saying anything.
That's a high bar, Joe. That's
a
high
very high bar. It's a very high bar. But so he's telling me this. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I always thought he was like he seemed like a nice guy, but he also has seems like he has a little beef with Ryan Reynolds as well. And I'm like, I really like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
So,
you're barking up the rank tree of popularity if you think I'm going to go for you over
I think
Ryan Reynolds.
His points for Ryan is that he's the same in every single movie he's in, which I'm not going to deny him that. Like Ryan Reynolds is literally just Ryan Reynolds in every movie. But that's kind of the charm, in my opinion, anyway.
Same. On the game says, especially with pissing in battles and turning up 7 to 8 hours late on set and trying to put his incompetent producer and brother-in-law in charge of DC. I'm going to say I don't believe the pissing in battles thing. I think that's a bit much. I think that if he's being late on set, he would walk off to have a piss. I don't think like that's going against each other. Like you're time conserving so much on set that you got to pee in battles instead of going to the bathroom, but you're going to show up 7 to 8 hours late. And it's Umberto that's doing some of this too, which he was always pretty frustrated that we didn't get Black Adam and Shazam first and foremost. And he's not the most reliable in scoops.
Exactly.
Scoopy pants. But a lot of other people push back with the DC stuff, saying that's what we heard about DC, about them trying to position Hiram, like what All in the Game saying at the bottom, about trying to put your incompetent producer brother-in-law in charge of DC. That stuff a lot of people said they heard. So like again, the bottle pissing and bottle stuff, you would hope that if you're that big of a megastar, you do need to do that.
Dude, all the game, Buried was amazing. Another one I really liked was, oh crap, what was it? It was one with him and his daughter. He's telling her the story of how he met, and it's not how I Met Your Mother, but like he's telling her about like his love life, and I can't remember what it was called. And he's like basically describing these 3 women that he fell in love with, and one of them is her mom. He doesn't actually say which one is her mom, and they're now divorced, but they're still friends. I can't remember, and I have it on my shelf, but my shelf is the other way because I moved my room around.
Ryan Reynolds and the rom-coms,
dude. Like there's another one that he did. Nines. No, not the game plan. That is Rock. I'm talking about Reynolds.
I can't remember.
I I mean I could look it up, but it's so far away.
So
What are we talking about here? What were we
we're
talking
talking
about?
about
Oh, we'll talk about the Rock. So I can see him being an hour or two late. Like that's kind of normal.
mhm.
But the 7 to 8, like I don't think he's doing that.
I
Like
think that's a bit
he's
extreme.
too much of a professional to be like being in his trailer pouting or whatever the heck he's doing. He would be an hour late, 2 hours late max. And that's because he's doing something and that's why he's late. Not
Mhm.
because he just wants to be late.
And again, I think I don't trust the source as much. Now, if Ryan Reynolds ever speaks out and says, "Yeah, that's true," yeah, okay, you earn some credit, Umberto. But right now, you've been a little bit stretching of some things before that. So, Joe, I really didn't want to even talk about this. It just frustrates me after watching Crisis on Infinite Part 2. There's a little 2-minute clip grab of Crisis on Infinite Part 3, which shows Kevin Conroy's Batman throwing Mark Hamill's Joker. The
Yeah.
same designs too. So I'm rather interested. You're taking those designs for those, but every other one gets the Tomorrowverse treatment. So
It's only because of who they
should have did
are.
them all like it, Joe. Should have did them all like it. Should have did them all.
Yeah, well. It is what it is.
So
Definitely maybe. That's what it's called. Definitely maybe.
we have the WB upfronts. Those are coming in a couple weeks. We may hear about some DCU stuff. So I just wanted to point that out on the 24th and 25th, I think, here. No, sorry, on 15th. It's called Upfront 24/25. So we might get some stuff about the Penguin here too. Maybe you get another Penguin trailer. So just be on the lookout for that in a couple weeks. Maybe some DCU updates. Okay, so James Gunn talking about if it's been difficult filming Superman and Peacemaker at the same time. Because I've seen this a little bit. He's only filming a handful a day on Peacemaker before he's done with Superman. So yeah, he's having other people take that show and run with it. He wrote it all, so it's going to have his fingerprints all over it.
Sure.
But again, I'm not worried about Peacemaker. Are you?
No, God, no.
No.
I'm more worried about how it's going to lay out in the timeline.
The DC, yeah, that's what it's on, and how they address it too. I'm really interested in how they address it. This was cool. John Ostrander was on set of Superman visiting with James Gunn. He created Mr. Terrific, and you know he's going to get some good compensation for that.
Heck yeah.
Jim Sterling, the most frustrating thing I think I've heard of both these is he created Thanos, and he got more for KGB showing up in Batman versus Superman than he did for Thanos. So
that is a bunch of crap.
I do like how DC does with the compensating that way.
Yeah, I think all of it was because Whedon just threw Thanos in at the end as a fun little surprise. And then the fans went crazy. It's like, we want all this. And instead of actually going to Sterling to be like, hey, can we, like, we're going to be using him. Here's some compensation.
Nothing.
They're like, no. Marvel's got the rights, so fuck you kind of thing.
So we got a couple, I don't know if people want to be cast or talking about casting. Shogun star Anna Sawai reveals that she was banned from auditioning for a part of Katana in David Ayer's Suicide Squad by the manager of J-pop group Faki. I don't know anything about J-pop too. Sorry, that's a blind spot for me. She's like, I go to my manager, and he's like, you can't audition. So that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, did the managers just say you can't audition, or did he say you're forbidden from auditioning? Like, I don't understand what's going on there. Yeah, I saw that too, and
I did not see that.
No, I saw Hunter's Iggy's post. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I haven't seen that, Hunter. So hopefully that comes up. Next episode. We don't like people being attacked online for anything, really.
Hell no.
So
yeah, no. So like, so explain this to me. Did she?
She wasn't allowed to audition. She wanted to audition,
but the manager said no.
Manager said no.
Okay, manager said no, not the company.
No,
not
her manager said no. So she was a little pissed about that. I didn't know there was any other potentials for Katana.
Yeah.
This one, I'm not going to check this out because I don't have any VR. I don't know if you do, Joe, but there's going to be a new Batman Arkham game for VR. A VR game will release in late 2024, so not that much time left. Hopefully, it does better than Suicide Squad: Kill Justice League. That one did not perform well.
No, it did. You don't have to do a lot to perform better than that game.
So, Superman, the Christopher Reeve story is going to kick off the second annual DC/Docs Film Festival. This is from Variety.
That's
So
fun.
there's a lot of good word of mouth about this film, and I can't wait till we get to finally check it out. We'll definitely be doing a review here, just whenever it's available to the public. That's all. This one, I don't know about this. Jonathan Nolan talked about the possibility of returning to the Dark Knight universe. Wouldn't that be a dream? So if I had a chance to go back and work on that again, absolutely.
Don't think that's gonna happen, but
Let that he helped Nolan write all of that. So
well, sure. But
uh, let
we
let
got
it
three
rest.
movers. Like
Yeah,
we,
let it rest.
I, I mean, unless you're gonna get what's his name?
Christian Bale.
No, not Bale, because he's dead, quote unquote dead.
Oh
Robin,
no, I'm not getting John Robin, not getting John Roberts Robin or John somebody's Robin. Uh,
something I can't remember his name now.
I thought it was John something.
Gosh dang it!
The Dark.
Third Rock from the Sun. That's how I know him from.
Yeah, well, that's his name. That's his main thing.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt. There we go.
Yeah, what
Levitt.
is his
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
character? We're trying to know his
Robin.
character
It was
though.
Robin in the.
It wasn't the last thing. John Blake. There you go.
Okay.
And then reals his legal name to be Robin John Blake, which who in the hell named you, kid? That was terrible. Like
Well,
John
that's
Robin
why you
Blake.
think he was going by John and not Robin John.
So yeah, I don't know if people have talked about wanting to see that though, wanting to see him.
I mean, it would be cool. Like, I would love the continuation, but I also feel like it ended on such a good note.
Don't need to
You
go back to
don't
that,
need to
Joe.
go
Especially
back
with
to
the
the well.
Batman sitting there and Penguin about to blow people's socks off. So uh,
Yes.
yeah, not really worth it to me. Black Panther and the Fall Guy star Winston Duke wants the campaign to be DCU's next Batman. He says, "Listen, man, you can start that campaign. I would say I challenge you to get on all these socials and push for me. I would love to do that as Batman."
So I mean, Winston Duke, amazing actor.
Hmm.
Him as Batman, I'm down for it. I'm not gonna lie. That'd be
I
great.
I would have said that 100% before I listened to in the audio. Oh, what was that one called? He was Batman and Bruce Wayne for an audio.
Oh, the
Clay
the
would
one
know.
on
Clay would know. Clay's
Spotify.
I think so. I'm not sure if it was Spotify, but it been there's two that's been out, like
Oh,
two.
okay.
And I didn't like his voice as Bruce. I thought it was a
Really?
bit too much. Now I don't know if you're
So
hamming it up because you're not acting in it, like you're just doing your voice. So I don't know if you'd be a little different as actual Batman Bruce Wayne in an acting thing. So that's why like I don't want to say like no, like I wouldn't watch you or anything. Your Bruce Wayne's voice. I wasn't as fan of in that, but now again, that's the other thing. That could have been how that's edited. That could have been how that's synthesized. There's so many different things that could have made me not like his voice. So and not like his Bruce Wayne voice. And again, I'm not seeing the actor too, so it's hard. And then when you're doing the voices, you have a lot to stand up to. So
um so if you don't want him as Bruce Wayne
I wouldn't be
Batman,
against it. Against it. I'm just
you
saying like
you
the
could also
audio.
get him as Tim Fox Batman. The
Ooh.
new Batman from the just before, not Rebirth, new DC whatever was going on. Like the Batman character from a couple years ago in the comics. Honestly, I'd be fine with either one. But that being said, we've got him who threw his name in the hat. Alan Richson has been
Mhm.
talking about it. Iggy said earlier about Brandon Skellner. He apparently threw his hat in name or name for Batman. And I looked him up, and I'm like, that's a little weird, but he looks, yeah.
A little bit.
And then Iggy also puts here he wants Winston Duke
Listen,
for Black Lightning or Red
Red Lion.
Lion. I don't know who Red Lion is. Or Icon. Icon, he'd be awesome as Icon, if I'm being honest. But he also would be pretty wicked as Black Lightning.
Uh
Um,
I would yeah, Red Lion is apparently DC's version of Black Panther. I wouldn't mind
really?
him like again, I wouldn't mind I'm okay, doesn't
Oh,
matter who
now I
plays
know. Yes, I know that
Bruce
character.
Wayne, Batman, but uh if he's chosen, I definitely won't be complaining. I hope his performance isn't like the audio drama. That's all
Gotcha.
I'll say there.
I
Uh,
know who Red Lion is. I haven't read the comic with him in it, but I know who that character is now.
so Joe, we're up to our final thing of the night, our Smallville retro recap. We have a fun episode here that I really enjoy watching. Lucy,
Mm-hmm.
which again, there's a lot of good scenes with Erica Durant's Lois and Lucy in this,
Always.
especially time in Mother and at the end. Oh my
Peyton
God,
List
overbearing.
Peyton List as Lucy, which is kind of awesome
Yeah.
because she does a lot of voice acting nowadays, and she does a lot of Marvel voice acting.
Yes,
So
and she's done a lot of everything, to be honest with you.
she does.
Hold on here, let me. She talked about she was on Talkville for this episode. She talked about doing this when she was 18, and everyone
Okay.
being super nice to her here. Uh, what is her most recent stuff here for her credits? I'm just really interested to see what you're talking about with the voice acting.
She does. Does she not do Black Widow for the Marvel um
I don't see her here
What
for
Ifs?
these.
Or am I thinking of somebody else?
You must be thinking, wait, hold on. 2024, 2023, 2023. Nope, she's not here for that. She's Gotham. She was Poison Ivy, and she was Poison Ivy in Batman Hush. She was in
Was she Poison Ivy
Picard.
in Harley Quinn? Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Nope, she wasn't. She was
Who
Lisa
am I?
Snart, Golden Glider in The Flash. I know that. Uh, and yeah, she was in 2 episodes of Smallville. See, she has another episode. Uh, it doesn't say when it was, but yeah, again,
Okay, so the problem is there are two
Peyton List.
actresses named Peyton List.
Yeah,
So maybe I'm just confusing the two.
think you might be.
I'm looking
Uh,
through the stuff. Okay, well,
let's see the other one. I think you're not. Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai. Uh, no, what if? Robot Chicken,
well, that doesn't say anything. Everybody's in Robot Chicken.
Batman Hush. She was
Who am I?
Batgirl. She was in. Her and Peyton List were in the same film too. Batman Hush.
Were they really
One was Poison Ivy and one was Batgirl.
nice? Very nice.
Oh, small thing, but yeah, this was an
Hold on.
enjoyable episode, Joe. Did you remember watching this back in the day?
Yeah, sort of. A lot of the season 4 stuff, I kind of, I guess, outside of what you call it, Erica Durant, I just kind of like, chew.
I absolutely thought. I remember this episode because I absolutely thought that Lucy was gorgeous back in the day,
Which is fair.
and how it was very James Bond esque how she shows up like skiing and avoiding the people going after her. I was like, thought that was really funny, and just that she was trying to play everybody, and she ultimately got caught. That was
Yeah, like it's one of
Joel
those.
ultimately looked like she was going to get caught, but she spit off in Lex's car at the end. I love that little getaway. That was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Uh, and the special effect with Clark stopping, was it the train? I think it was the train. It was pretty cool. So yeah, Geekverse. He said, "I want Peyton List as Artemis for DCU." You mean the other Peyton List, not the one in the Smallville episode, or Lisa Snart in Golden Glider in the Flash, or Poison Ivy in Gotham? You're talking about the other Peyton List, I'm assuming, Hunter, for Artemis. That's just my thought there. But yeah, this was a cool episode. I can't believe it's so
Lake
long until she
Bell.
shows
That's what
back
I'm
up
thinking
again.
of. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
that's what you're
Lake
thinking
Bell.
of.
That's
That's what you're thinking
my
of.
bad. My bad.
Yeah, so she was pretty like again, I thought this was a cool character.
Yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I was meaning to rewatch or watch the episodes prior because I've been trying to keep up with this season. But because I haven't been on last week, and then the week prior I hadn't. It was
Crypto was the one that was
I've been
good
out.
that
Yeah,
you missed. That
but
was
like it starts out and you've got Lana and Jason come home and her apartment has been
mhm.
ramshackle through, and the what's called the dime or the what is this called? The artifact is missing.
Yeah,
The
the
jewel
the stone of
stone. There
power.
we go.
Stone.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that was good. I'm pretty sure that was, if I remember correctly, a good episode of when they go get that.
Yeah,
So
they
like,
go to Japan or China. One of it is pretty
yeah,
cool. Joe, one other thing about this too, she comes back in season 10 for Ambush.
10? Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's a ways away.
So yeah, it's gonna be a while. Gonna be a while. I like this episode. I like this episode. Again, it's not the strongest, but the acting between Erica Durance and Peyton List here is really good.
Yeah,
You feel like sisters.
exactly.
Mhm.
Did a good job.
Okay, Joe, that pretty much wraps up our night. Listeners, I want to thank you guys for joining us. Hunter, Iggy, and all the game in the chat. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much. Joe, see you next week for more Dead Boy Detectives.
Yep. That'd be great to see it.
See you,
Later,
everyone.
guys.